Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to Wellness Wednesdays with Stephanie. I'm Stephanie, your host. And yes, I'm a psychic medium, a Reiki master, as well as a yoga teacher. And I've got a lot of experience in holistic health. I've actually got a good degree in holistic health studies. And it's been quite a beautiful journey to learn all about holistic health. I started holistic training in 2011. So it's been a very long time for me to understand how the body works, how mind, body, and spirit are all connected. And so I decided that this time for Wellness Wednesdays, I wanted to share a little of my wisdom. I've been focused so much on interviewing others that are in the holistic industry that I just have had so much fun doing that I just kept focusing on that. But I realized that when Wellness Wednesdays with Stephanie started, it was me. I was talking about my wisdom. I was talking about my healing and my journey and expressing my wisdom then. And I want to bring that back and have a conversation about holistic wellness lifestyle practices. So I call this optimal wellness lifestyle practices because that truly is what it is. We can achieve optimal wellness. This is a possibility, and it is something that I've been striving for most of my adult life. I have had my own healing journey. And so I'll get into that a little bit in a bit. But to start with, I wanted to give you my perspective on the dimensions of health. So we have all these different dimensions. Now, if you look in traditional medicine, they're going to say mind, body, spirit. If you look into holistic medicine, there's going to be about 8 different energies of dimensions in those things. If you look into my business, there's actually 16 dimensions that I talk about during the time that I do my coaching and my therapies. I talk people through these dimensions and we discuss all these different dimensions. So, really, it's mind, body, and spirit are the 3 primary. But when you really dive deep, there are dimensions within those. So that's what we talk about in my coaching program. Physical health is generally what a lot of people focus on. And physical health is only one aspect. That's your body. It might be your mind, of course, because your physical health is your brain. So we start really, when I do these coaching programs, we start with nutrition, because nutrition is one of the keys to help move you forward and heal your body. It is a powerful process if you accept food as medicine, as opposed to food as a toxin, which is a thing that you can do. You can have a completely toxic lifestyle. You can have a completely toxic diet. There are foods out there that are full of chemicals that are actually killing us. And now, if you want to learn about that, let's talk about the toxin journey. That is something that I have been very passionate about as well for a very long time. I realized my sensitivity to toxins in my early years. I learned that I was sensitive to sodium benzoate, which is a preservative, and sensitive to chemicals like food coloring and food additives. My body would have bad reaction to these, even pesticides. So I started to remove those things from my diet, and I had a profound effect. I don't have the same issues I had back then. Mostly it was stomach issues in my teenage years and early 20s. And those stomach issues disappeared. I have no stomach issues to this day. It's because of the nutrition that I consume. And I learned all about nutrition. This was a focus that I decided on when I was in college. I focused more on kinesiology, which is exercise science, and nutrition, because I wanted to understand the physical aspects of the body. I wanted to understand why the body breaks down, why it heals, why we have some cancers, why we have heart disease. I wanted to understand all of that. So I dove really deep into this learning so that I could learn and express the solutions. And in fact, there's a book that I've been working on. It's called The Art of Balance in a World of Chaos. And this book is all about the toxins and the stupid human tricks, as I like to call them, over the last 100 years of things that we have done to our bodies that have killed us. And I have on the second half of that book, I'm working on all the solutions that I've found that can get us out of that toxic lifestyle and into a more optimal wellness lifestyle, which is why I implore you to come and work with me. I've got a signature program called the Optimal Wellness Lifestyle 2.0. Now, I developed this program in 2014. 10 years later, it has been developed into a much stronger and more content-oriented kind of program. And it's something that I am very, very passionate about. So I'm going to share a little bit more of my wisdom, and then we'll get to the program a little bit later. So I mentioned that I studied kinesiology. Kinesiology and exercise science, really the reason I studied it was because of my yoga practice. I discovered yoga in my 20s and became a teacher in my 30s, and then studied kinesiology in my late 30s and into my early 40s, and learned all about movement. And somatic movement was like this amazing discovery. I learned that the body has wisdom, and when you listen to your body can speak back to you and give you answers. So the concept of somatic movement is just that. You move according to what your body is feeling. If you feel tension in your shoulders, you do something to release that tension. You move around, roll your neck a little bit, do something to release that tension. Same with the low back. If you feel that, you twist a little bit, move a little bit. There's wisdom in the body, and you move according to what your body is saying. I have discomfort here, I have pain here. Let's move a little bit and get that loosened up. That is somatic movement. And it goes a lot deeper than that. If you want to go down that rabbit hole, look into Moshe Feldenkrais, Thomas Hanna, Rachel, oh, what is her last name? Rachel Bowen. It is a restorative movement is her business. She's in Portland. There are so many Feldenkrais practitioners out there, Thomas Hanna practitioners, somatic movement practitioners. You can work with someone directly in your neighborhood and learn all about the wisdom of the body and how to move in a way that will heal your body. There's also somatic dance. So if you like dance, that's an option too. You can learn how to move with dance to release your body. Beautiful things about movement is one of the keys to healing. We need movement. We are not stagnant. We are not sedentary beings. We need to move. So the movement is part of our healing journey. When you have pain and chronic illness, these are actually messages from your body. And unfortunately, in Western medicine, we're not taught that. We are taught in our society to go to the doctor if we're in pain or if we have an illness. And the doctor will give you a Band-Aid, maybe they'll give you a drug, they will give you something to relieve the discomfort. They're not going to solve the problem. What I've found diving into holistic medicine is there are solutions. There are ways that we can move past autoimmune illness and get out of our illness and our chronic pain. There are ways to do this. There are practices that can get us back to an optimal wellness lifestyle. And that's the point of this talk. That's why I am so passionate about it, because there is a pathway to get back there. I absolutely believe this, and this is something that I will encourage you to continue to research if you're not sure about what I'm telling you. Now, going into mental health and emotional well-being, mindfulness meditation has been one of my biggest practices. I have meditated since my 20s, since I discovered yoga, and there's different ways of meditating. Now, in the yoga practice, it's usually a guided meditation. It is visualizations. You visualize yourself in a beautiful forest or something like that. In mindfulness meditation, it's more about being present to what is. So the practice of mindfulness meditation is actually based in Zazen and Buddhism. And the practice is literally to quiet the mind and sit in stillness. And there's a practice that I learned years ago from one of my teachers that was to think of your thoughts like leaves on a river. And as you're sitting in meditation, you're watching your thoughts float by on the river without engaging with them. Now, that is a visualization practice, but it works. It works very, very well to see those thoughts and watch them float away. There's no reason you need to attach to them. There's no reason you need to engage with those thoughts. During your meditation practice, the idea is stillness. The idea is to get you out of those thought patterns, to get back into your body. So one of the practices is to focus on the breath. You can count your breath. You can actually count to 30 or 60 if you'd like. You can use the breath as your guide to get you through that practice. You can set a timer and have the timer go off in 5 minutes or 20 minutes, whatever your mindfulness meditation practice looks like. I do recommend meditation, even if it's 5 minutes a day, because it can have a powerful effect on your mental well-being and your emotional well-being. When it comes to processing trauma, trauma is something that's common to all humans. We all experience trauma. The definition of trauma is essentially any experience that you've had where you didn't feel heard and you weren't able to use your voice. You didn't get your needs met. So these three things are what causes trauma in the body and in the mind. And it's whether or not you expressed your needs, if you got up and said, I need to say something, if you expressed that you have a need in that moment, then you can actually avoid the trauma. However, if you're in an abusive relationship, if you're in a situation where the other party is not listening, is not hearing you, then yes, you will experience trauma in that moment. And the way that you process it is through different techniques. Now, I am a strong proponent for psychotherapy. I have personally had a therapist since my early 20s because I do believe that mental health is one of our keys to holistic wellness. And I also believe that therapy is very helpful in processing trauma. Now, there are different techniques. Now, if you are interested in diving into trauma release, and learning all about trauma, there's an amazing book called The Body Keeps the Score. I can't remember the name of the author right now, but I will put the link in the description below on YouTube. I'll share it. And that book, oh man, I can't tell you how much I learned about trauma listening to that book. I personally set up for Audible, and I love listening to these amazing self-help books. When it comes to learning and growth and becoming a stronger, higher version of yourself, a higher consciousness, essentially what that looks like is becoming a student of life. It's a lifelong learner perspective. You come into a place where you know nothing. You might have wisdom from your 50 years on the planet, but you still know nothing. And so you accept that there's going to be learning in that moment. There's going to be something that you don't know, that maybe you need to be a student in this moment so you can learn something about this experience. There's so much value in becoming a student and learning and being open to that, as opposed to oh, I already know that, or I've already learned this lesson, I don't need to learn it again. You know, what's interesting about life is it's like a spiral. It allows you to revisit your traumas, your triggers over and over and over again. Even after you've processed them, you're still going to get a reminder, because every time you revisit that trauma, you're at a higher place in your learning and your growth. You're at a higher place in your wisdom, and you can look at that trauma from that perspective. So it gives you new wisdom about that experience. It gives you new wisdom about the trauma. It is a powerful thing to revisit those things. And so I do recommend, if you are diving into learning and growth, to have a journal, to open up in your journal about your experience with wellness. Managing stress is a big proponent of what I do. I am very, very focused on teaching you different techniques to get out of stress and into a peaceful, calm space. And the focus of releasing your nutritional toxins and moving with somatic movement and releasing your pain and having a meditation practice and having trauma release practices and becoming a student, all of these things teach you how to manage your stress. There are specific stress management techniques that I teach. If you look on my YouTube channel, you can find a whole video that I made about stress management. Now, when it comes to spiritual health, this is the etheric, the esoteric. We are all spiritual beings. I believe that we are all connected in this universe to all that is. When we come to Earth in human form, we forget our spiritual truth and the path of returning to union, as that's the actual meaning of yoga, is the path to union. Connecting to God is part of our journey in healing our bodies and minds and becoming more aware of our spiritual truth. And so, my spiritual practices personally, I do meditation on a regular basis. I do earthing. I connect to the planet because the planet is also connected to spirit. The planet is part of spirit. When we walk on the planet, we get energetically aligned to what the planet is projecting energetically, and it balances our nervous system. There's a powerful practice, and there's actually a documentary about earthing if you'd like to dive more deeply into earthing. Prayer is also a powerful practice. And just like a meditation, there's a focus there, there's a stillness there. You go into a prayerful space and you release some of your worldly concerns so that you can speak to God. And there's a practice there. One of the things that I teach in my optimal wellness program is about the fact that you're never alone. You have spirit guides, you have angels, you have a support team spiritually, and you also have Akashic records. You have records of your soul journey and what your spirit has endured in your entire life, not just this lifetime, but all of your past lives. So, it starts with personal empowerment, unconditional self love, self acceptance of what is, removing self judgment, giving loving kindness to yourself and others, and stepping into your truth and sovereignty. So, this is the work that I have done ever since I stepped into my truth as a psychic medium. I have stepped into that truth and opened up to the possibility that I can be a sovereign being, that I can live in a non judgment space, that I can give loving kindness regardless of what's being projected back to me. This is a choice, as is a choice of following your bliss or your joy. And that is another spiritual practice of getting into a higher vibration of love, bliss, and joy. These are energetic practices. Manifesting your highest path in life looks like setting healing intentions, confidence building practices, and creative visualization. And so when we come to the end of the Optimal Wellness Lifestyle program, it's very much about clearing any emotional and spiritual toxins. There are a lot of us that have religious wounds from our experience with church. There are a lot of us that have unknown and unsure experiences because we have so much information in our internet that we don't know what is the truth. And so I always recommend coming back to your body and asking your body, what is the truth? Your body has wisdom. There's a test that you can do using your intuition that is largely looking at your body and saying, okay, I'm about to make this decision. Is it a yes or is it a no? Now, if your body is saying yes, you're going to feel excited. You're going to be elated, joyful, blissful. You're going to get excited, that you'll feel that bubbling up inside of your excitement. Oh my God, yes, yes, yes. But if it's a no, you might feel nauseous. You might feel a knot in your stomach. You might feel like, oh, I don't know if I should do this. This doesn't feel right. Something about this isn't right. And follow that guidance. Listen to your body because your body knows what you can do and what you shouldn't do. Your body has information for you. And so, starting with nutrition, ending with spiritual practices. This is the entire Optimal Wellness program in a nutshell. We dive deep into all of these and so much more of those different dimensions of life. And I do suggest that you go check out my Optimal Wellness program. Go check out the checkout page on my website and send me a message if you're interested, if you'd like a consultation prior to signing up for the program. I completely understand, and I will hold your hand. I'll be here for you. I will coach you through this entire program. So it's not just an online program. You get me with it. It comes with a coach and someone who has a ton of wisdom to share with you. So please do reach out if you're interested. Thank you so much for joining me today. I deeply appreciate it, and I am grateful. Namaste.